Desperate residents of Khan Yunis flee on foot, carrying what they can of their belongings. Many are being displaced for a second or third time since the war broke out on October 7th. Hamdi Zahir from northern Gaza says he sheltered for a month in the Ashifa hospital, then was ordered south to the safe areas they're now being told to evacuate. Send us to the grave and be done with it, he says. Some 80% of Gaza's 2.3 million people have now been made homeless in an Israeli bombing campaign that has reduced much of the crowded coastal strip to a desolate wasteland. Israeli forces largely captured the northern half of Gaza in November. Since a week-long truce collapsed on Friday, they have pushed deep into the southern half. This house in Khan Yunis was struck overnight. Nisreen Abdulmoti lives next door with her daughter and 2-year-old baby.
They told us to move from the north to Khan Yunis since the south is safer. And now they've bombed Khan Yunis. Even Khan Yunis is not safe now. And even if we move to Rafah, Rafah is not safe either. Where do they want us to go?
The parts of Khan Yunis people were ordered to leave were home to more than 350,000 people before the war, the UN says, not counting the hundreds of thousands who crowded in to take shelter from the bombs. Medical officials in the enclave say Israel's bombing has killed more than 15,500 people.
One, I think it's too early to make a definitive assessment. The Secretary was very clear about how we want to judge this based on results, not based on intent. I will say that in the first few days of this renewed military campaign against the South, we have seen some things that don't look like the operation as it was conducted in the North. For example, in the North, at the commencement of operations, you saw them ask or order more than 1 million people to move. We've seen a much more targeted request for evacuations here, where the Israeli Defense Forces have identified specific neighborhoods where they plan to conduct military operations and urged in advance of those operations the people in those neighborhoods to move, rather than telling an entire city or an entire region to vacate their homes. So that is an improvement on what's happened before. What the Secretary made clear in our meetings with the Prime Minister and other officials of the Israeli government on Thursday is that we do not want to see a military campaign in the South that looks like the North. And what we mean by that, we do not want to see the same level of civilian casualties. We do not want to see the same level of mass displacement. We do expect to see civilian casualties as a result of this campaign. That is sadly true in all wars. It is especially going to be true in a war in a crowded urban environment where the opponent, Hamas, is using civilians as human shields and hiding themselves, hiding their fighters, hiding their infrastructure behind civilians.
Intentionally kill civilians?
We think far too many people. I have not seen evidence that they are intentionally killing civilians. We believe that far too many civilians have been killed. But again, this goes back to the underlying problem of this entire situation, which is that Hamas has embedded itself inside civilians, inside civilian homes, inside mosques, in schools, in churches. I don't have any information to suggest that the Israeli government is targeting journalists in this conflict. But as I said, the Secretary has made clear it's not just intent that matters, it's results.
Any more coming in?
So there are more than 1,000 American citizens, legal permanent residents, and their family members who have departed Gaza. There are around 750 who are left. That includes 220 American citizens. The rest are family members or legal permanent residents. And with respect to that report of a potential American fatality, we still have not been able to confirm it. Unfortunately, it's someone, if the report is true, it's in northern Gaza, where we have just very limited information and very limited communications.
New evidence that they have.
We have seen them take some steps to respond to extremist violence against Palestinians in the West Bank. We don't think those steps have been sufficient. We think they need to prosecute people who engage in violent activities against Palestinians. And one of the things that the Secretary made clear in his conversations with the Israeli government is that while this doesn't in any way obviate the need for them to take additional actions, that we are prepared to take our own actions on behalf of the United States government. The Israeli government was not early on Friday allowing fuel to go in. We had some very frank conversations with them about the need for fuel to come in, and we saw some fuel go in Friday. We saw additional fuel go in Saturday, but it's at the level of fuel that we were at before the pause began. We've made clear we want to see it back up, not just to the level of fuel that went in during the pause, but actually higher numbers than that, and are having ongoing discussions with the Israeli government about how to get there.
אנחנו תמיד קרובים, אנחנו קרובים.